Bye-bye, red dye and blue dye and plastic and petroleum and whatever the hell else they're poisoning us with in our food supply. RFK Jr. made his big move yesterday, and he's got a lot of support, and this may actually work this time. But pay close attention to who opposes this, because you know that they're just the propagandist clowns who don't want the food supply to get. And is the food going to get uglier? Is it not going to be as pretty? Yeah. Probably not even going to taste as much, but we have to do something about the food supply. And I was thinking about this too. There are very few examples where I want the government to step in. This is what I want my government to do. Here's my view of it. I want them to build roads, protect the country, kill our enemies, and I want them to, honest to God, protect our food supply. That's all I want, really. That's all I'm looking for with my tax dollars. And this is a big step towards that. So like I said, we'll get into exactly what he wants to ban here. But the amount of stuff that's been in our food, we're killing ourselves with this garbage. We'll talk about that as well. And a tale of two cities. One Tesla terrorist is going to get off scot-free. No charges whatsoever yet for causing $20,000 in damage to a Tesla dealership. Another state, two idiots are getting charged. They are getting indicted as of today. We'll tell you which states those two are related to. And this may be the low point in American society. Wal-Mart has had to put locks on red meat. Locks, like security locks. They're all locked up. You got to hear some of the eyewitness accounts of that one. But it's okay, because we've got to wrap this up with the best of humanity. When was the last time you heard about North Carolina? Right? Out of the news. Nobody cares. Gone. Long gone after all the flooding. Well, the Amish didn't forget. I'll tell you something. The Amish are incredible people. There's a volunteer army of 2,000 Amish people from Pennsylvania in North Carolina right now, rebuilding homes and businesses. It's an incredible story. We'll get to that as well, because after all this stuff, you're going to need some lightening up. But thanks for finding me, as always. Wicked Radio is the live stream version of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. You can find that in every single social media platform, at YouTube and Facebook and all that other stuff, and right here on my X account. And the audio podcast version gets posted every day, audio version of this every single day, wherever you like to get your podcasts. And that's growing a lot, so thank you so much. Let's get right to it. Bobby Kennedy Jr., his big day yesterday. He swore. Do you remember during the campaign? He said when he was brought on board for the Trump train, and he said, I pray every single day that I'm given at least a chance to take the poison out of our food supply. Well, sure enough, he's getting really close to doing it. This is the big announcement just yesterday.
I just want to urge all of you, it's not the time to stop. It's the time to redouble your efforts, because we have them on the run now. And we are going to win this battle. And 4 years from now, we're going to have most of these products off the market, or you will know about them when you go in the grocery store.
Now, you may be thinking, what's the big deal? What's the matter? It's food. Why are you attacking this? We have so many other problems. Really? Here's an honest question, and I mean this truly. Do we have any bigger problems? Anything. Pick any issue we have, even crime, corruption, the trade wars, whatever. Do you have a bigger problem than what you're going to face every single day? Maybe right now as you're eating your breakfast sandwich. I don't know. Or whatever you're doing, your iced coffee, whatever it is. Do we all know what's in there? Because we're about to find out. A lot of it's going away. Here's the long and short of it and the details. And this is from the I love the New York Post because of the headlines. It's not good for much else after that, but I love the headline. Whoever the headline writer is, or the team at the New York Post, they're geniuses. The die is cast. That's the headline. Here's the story. 8 harmful petroleum-based synthetic dyes will soon be phased out of the American food supply. The plans unveiled yesterday, as you just heard, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and the FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCarry, was there. FDA is going to revoke authorization for 2 synthetic food colorings. These are the bad ones, according to them. Citrus Red 2 and Orange B. They just sound like experiments, don't they? And collaborate with the food industry to remove other synthetic dyes. This is why I think this is going to have a massive, massive success rate. First of all, tie that into what's going on right now with the whole trade deals. Now, we already have, trade disagreements going on with other countries. But the European countries have used this for quite some time to, use it as an excuse, but they really do mean it, to not import any of our food because the ingredients are completely different. Just look up online today the difference in, it could be anything, candy, regular foods like chips. Look at the food ingredient in Europe, compared to ours and the amount of crap that we allow. And Europe hasn't allowed it for quite some time. And I know it's big daddy government. They control everything you do, and I understand that. For this, they have it right. So now that we have a tough time exporting our goods anyway from American countries, this is one step out of the way that may make it a lot easier. This is why I think the food companies, and RFK Jr. was kind of alluding to this yesterday in the press conference just a little bit. A lot of the food companies are totally on board with this time. Even though they put this poison in the food supply for years, decades, they're on board with it this time because it may actually help them with what's going on in the world right now and the temperature. It may help them export this stuff, and it's one less barrier. So it may actually work. And it's important. It really is. Like I said in the intro, watch to see. This is going to be hilarious. Watch to see who opposes this. Like what is the... Are they going to rope-a-dope Democrats now into opposing this as well? Are we going to have like AOC and Tim Walz and Elizabeth Warren and all those cast of characters and Chucky Schumer all saying, protect my Skittles, I want my... Or Bernie Sanders, the oligarchs want to take your food, die out of your food, stop the oligarchs and the billionaires. Who the hell knows? But watch to see the idiots who are actually opposed to this. Now, an adjustment for American society, yeah, it's going to be tough a little bit because it's probably going to be... Food's going to be a little less colorful coming here pretty soon. But that's a good thing because over the decades, this crap has been in there right under our noses and we didn't even pay attention to it. And we're all guilty of it because we're all busy. We all have busy lives and families and businesses and projects we're working on. You don't always have time to check this out. I'm not in favor of government stepping in and monitoring everything for you. In this, when it's talking about food supply, and the dirty deals that have gone on behind the scenes to, slip this stuff in over the decades, yeah, I want the government to help me out with this one, for sure. Go back to, I'll never forget when I found out about the food pyramid. Remember the food pyramid we all learned? It was shaped like this, obviously, right? And then you had, and you look at it now, I'm thinking like the 80s and 90s when this thing was like, it was posted in schools. I remember that. It was posted in like doctor's offices and pediatricians. The food pyramid was, things you should eat the least amount at the top there, the little tippy top. But down below was mostly what you should have. It was bread and carbs and all the sugary stuff down below. Yeah, because you know who developed the food pyramid? The bread companies. The food companies developed it. So they were able to convince all of these health departments and schools and universities to promote that as the food pyramid. And it was all garbage. That's how it's all done. So it's not our fault that our food supply was poisoned. It was these companies, and they got away with it from a government that was half asleep. And as parents, the stuff that, oh my God. We just have to, because of food sensitivities in my family, over the years, we've had to pay more attention to this. But I don't blame American families for not being aware of this stuff. Who knows? We were brought up thinking, well, they wouldn't poison us. There has to be somebody overseeing this, right? Not so much. No, not really. I remember one day I was taking care of my kids. They were really young too. I think it was probably 3 and 5 or something, and they love Nutella. You know, Nutella, the spread. And you look at the labeling, and it's Nutella. It's all natural. It's better than peanut butter, right? It's got to be better. And I'm putting it on whatever the hell they like to eat that with. Maybe it was bananas or something like this. And I'm looking at it, and I happened to flip the label over for the first time, and I looked at the label of Nutella, and I went, oh my God! I'd be better off feeding them Snickers bars. Nothing against Nutella, but I'm just saying, as an example, the amount of sugar that was in that thing, and I had no idea what I was feeding them. And I'm just one parent. Imagine millions of parents every single year just feeding our kids God knows what. I think this is going to help. But again, the takeaway is watch to see who's opposed to this. Watch to see who tries to get in the way of cleaning up the food supply and taking the poisons out of it. Because even the food manufacturers are behind it this time. So who gets in the way? Then it's just pure politics to try to stop more progress. That's all you got to look for. Speaking of politics, well, this is going to enrage you, but it's okay because there's a counter to this story. There was in Minnesota last week, actually the week before last, but then the court case was coming up before. There's a 33-year-old man named Dylan Adams. I promise you, hand to God, there's no relation. And if there is, I would swear him out of the family. I don't care. But this guy is Dylan Adams in Minnesota. And he caused, and you might have heard about this story, just not the follow-up, he caused $20,000 worth of damage to Teslas. I think it was like 6 Teslas. $20,000 worth of damage. They find him easy because, again, like all the other idiots that don't realize that the Cybertrucks have cameras right on them, even I know that with my pea brain, they catch him right away. They arrest him. He has his hearing. Well, as it turns out, in the state of Minnesota, this guy in particular is going to face 0 charges. None. Zip. Nada. Nothing. Not even a fine. You're thinking, I wonder why. Well, it's Minnesota. Pretty lax on cracking down on crime, right? Well, let's look into it a little further. Where's Dylan Adams? Oh, he's a Minnesota state employee. Oh, he works for, there it is, the Tim Walz administration. Okay, well, that makes sense. But there's more. It turns out the prosecutor in the case who refused to bring any charges against Dylan Adams is named Mary Moriarty. So this led everybody to look a little bit more into Mary Moriarty. What's the state prosecutor like there? What's she all about? Well, she was completely funded by left-wing groups, the biggest one in her election campaign, funded by George Soros. Well, that's no big surprise there. And that led more of us to look into, well, how much money did George Soros and the foundation and left-wing groups and these NGOs, how much did they give to Mary Moriarty to make sure that she's in place to not crack down on criminals, especially their buddies in the administration? The tune of $511,230 in Soros donations to Mary Moriarty to make sure that she is the state prosecutor. $511,230 and no charges for young Dylan Adams for $20,000 worth of damage in the state of Minnesota because he's in with the in crowd, right? They want to prosecute their buddies. How about that? Yet. Now, we've all said it, and I know, and I've been kind of like countering this and like, give her a chance, give them a chance. Pam Bondi, the attorney, the big attorney general, the federal attorney general, for the administration, has said that they will charge the Tesla vandals with domestic terrorism. Kind of like the guy in Colorado, or is it New Mexico, that firebombed the Tesla dealership. That guy's going away forever. Well, here's a big test for Pam Bondi and her office to crack down on this character and make it a federal case, if they can. I don't know the legalities of it, but to make sure that first of all, the entire country is aware of this kind of political garbage that's happening, who's behind it, what kind of left-wing operations are behind this thing, and to make sure it doesn't happen. Because something's got to be done about that. So the more people talk about it and are aware of it, the more we can stop things from that. $20,000 worth of damage. Not one problem. Keeps his job, keeps his livelihood, no problem, gets away scot-free. What kind of a message is that? That's an encouragement for these other lunatics, these other losers to do as much damage as they possibly can. You could almost go so far as to say that this Dylan Adams character is paid by these terrorist groups to be able to do this. You could make that justification. So keep an eye on that one and see what happens. But it's okay, even though that's enraging. Do you remember this guy? We talked about him last month. Jim, what's his name? Jim Pellis. Now, he's a masshole. He's from Newton, Mass. He's worth a lot of money. Anybody that lives in Newton, Mass, I can assure you, is worth a lot of money. You got a lot of money. Well, he lost his job, and now he's facing charges. He and his buddy, who were at a New Hampshire ski resort, again, idiocy, caught on camera, keying a Cybertruck right there, easily found right in the parking lot as the cops showed up. Well, he and his buddy are going to be indicted. That's the difference between Minnesota and the state of New Hampshire. It would be different in Massachusetts, but it happened in New Hampshire, so they're going to crack down on him. Live free or die is the motto in that state. You might remember Jim Pellis because he lost his job and, he was outed online and all this other stuff. But you might remember this story for how blatantly dumb he was in the parking lot. Because the cop, the owner of the Cybertruck, got the video of the vandalism on his phone, called the cops to the parking lot. Cop looks at it. Cop gives the video to Jim Pellis, the perpetrator, and he says, "That you?" Remember this response? It sounded like this.
So, does no one talk about what happened here? Yeah. No. I don't know what happened. You didn't see that Tesla? No. Okay.
Yeah, well, Jim and his buddy, they're indicted now. I love that, too. I remember that so much. The cop looks at at the video of this happening on his phone, and he goes, "Okay, you want to tell me about what you did to the Cybertruck? No. You're telling me that's not you? No." And the cop just goes, "Okay." He had enough, and he arrested him there. So that's the tale of two Tesla terrorists. Like I said, let's keep an eye. We should all put pressure on the federal government to come down and stop this Minnesota case from happening, because you can't let that guy in Minnesota get away with it. You can't do it. All right. If that didn't enrage you, there's something else here, and I'll be fully honest with you. The reason why I wanted to talk about this story is mainly because of the sound. They don't say which cities are doing this, but I'm sure you can guess. Wal-Mart is putting locks on red meat locks, in certain locations. Now, we don't know exactly which locations, but I'm pretty sure you can guess which ones. The same locations, the same communities, the same cities that you walk into a CVS or any drugstore and everything is locked up. Like you have to get like an aspirin. You have to go ask for I've seen this. I've lived it. You have to ask a kid for a key, to open up the plexiglass thing. It's just disastrous because there's been so much theft. Well, it's happening at certain, not all, Walmart grocery store locations, the grocery store section. There's a locked up thing around the meat with a security deal. And when you take it to the counter, they need a certain key to take it off for you because so many people have been stealing meat. Now, it's sad, number one, that people are so desperate they're doing this, but also, isn't it just another situation where we're talking about communities that are soft on crime, too? Because people are getting away with this, whether they need to or not. But it's been caught on video all over the place. Now people are on TikTok talking about it, including this lady. I just love her sound.
Baby, this one you know is bad. When they put miniature gates so you don't steal, baby, they meats. Oh, girl, this got to be bad, Lord Jesus. Help our people, Lord.
Oh, Lord. Baby, they're putting the law. Baby, they meats. Totally honest. I'm not laughing at her. That's the classic reaction to the sound of it. And I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure I would even talk about this story unless if I hadn't found that sound, because that lady is classic. Classic. And that's had the most views, by the way, that her viral video talking about it. But it's just insane that that's actually happening. And again, we don't know exactly which communities, which cities, which markets, but it's happening. If you never thought we'd get there, we are there. This might be the low point in American society. But it's okay, because I can't leave you with that one. I'm going to leave you with the high point in American society. First of all, the question, when's the last time you heard about North Carolina and the flood damage? Those people, right? FEMA's been better. Once the administration changed, FEMA has finally gotten some money there. They were completely ignored at first. And I think it's just the nature of the news cycle, and I think it's human nature. Once something is out of sight, out of mind, we forget about it. Once it's out of the news cycle, those people get no help. That's why there's always such a push when there's a natural disaster to get it in front of people, in front of the news, and make a big deal and have people. That's why it's important for leaders to get to the location. We saw nothing from the Biden administration when the floods happened in North Carolina and the damage. Nothing. Remember, they weren't even there. It's important for the leaders to get there to make people aware of what's going on, because you lose momentum after a certain amount of time and people forget about you. Like North Carolina. Well, you know who's not forgotten about those people? And the town of, specifically, the one that was completely wiped out was Chimney Rock. Remember that one? The Amish haven't forgotten about them. The Amish are incredible, incredible people. They just are. They're amazing. And here's proof positive of that again, because there are 2,000 Amish people, an army of 2,000 from a community called, and an organization called the Great Needs Trust. Now, they're from Pennsylvania. They traveled to, and they're not going to leave until it's done, Chimney Rock, North Carolina, to help out. Here's a little bit of the news story, but you can hear some of the Amish people here who have been helping out. This is the best of America.
We work mostly in Chimney Rock, some down in Batcave.
These volunteers are members of the Great Needs Trust, an Amish community in Pennsylvania, offering not just their skilled hands and their time, but their compassion as well.
We wanted to help the people that had the disaster. Our heart just felt drawn to come help.
Since the storm, more than 2,000 volunteers have stepped in to help rebuild.
2,000 volunteers. of their time. And there they are, working away. It's just absolutely amazing. The people from that town are blown away at their generosity. It's an incredible... So as terrible as it is to see, we have Wal-Marts across America locking up their meats because of theft. That's the worst of it. But don't let that grab the headlines. That's the story we should be talking about. Americans helping out America. That's the real America that you don't always hear about. It's absolutely incredible. All right, I'm out of material. Thanks for finding me as always. The takeaway, look to see who is opposing cleaning up the food supply. Because even if the food companies are behind and supporting cleaning up the food supply, if somebody opposes that, it's just politics. That's all it is. And the second thing is what we just had right there. The news is going to talk about the worst of America, like locking up meats. The best of it is people like the Amish helping out North Carolina. Look for the best because you can always find it. And don't take any crap from anybody, as always. Thanks for finding Wicked Wisdom with me on the socials, on Facebook and YouTube and the audio podcast, wherever you like to get those, and the replay for the live stream here every single day. So with that said, motoring through the week. Have a wicked awesome Wednesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.